Ms. Chinaka Faith, and Ms. Linda. We are expecting more persons, and it's 7. So we'll begin, and I really just want to talk about ITC Tech, Infinix Tech Cloud, to introduce us to this webinar. This webinar is being hosted and sponsored by ITC Tech Cloud, also known as ITC Tech. ITC Tech Cloud, it's Infinix Tech Cloud. It's a global tech company, an international tech company owned by Nigerians, and it's looking at developing skill sets to meet growing demand of tech people all over the world, of tech companies all over the world, making products to be useful in today's challenging and demanding global space. Now, having said that, I really want to also recognize the presence of professionals who are here from the oil and gas, professionals who are here from banking and finance, and undergraduate students who are here. You're all welcome once again to this exciting webinar. Without wasting much of our time, the webinar is about talking on the career prospects in tech, and knowing what to learn, the skill to learn in tech that are relevant, firstly, to you as an individual, and again, to your immediate environment. We noticed a pattern. So many persons, they learn tech just because they want to learn, just because everyone is learning, and they don't know why they are learning whatever they are learning. So this webinar was put together, like I said, by Infinix Tech Cloud, also known as ITC Tech, to see that people who want to learn tech, people who are navigating into tech, they know what they want to learn, what they can learn easily, and how they can begin to be productive with the skill they have learned. We also want to address issues of business people who think that they don't need tech, professionals who think they're already professionals and they don't need tech. We also want to speak to them, for them to know what is relevant to them, what tech can do for them. Now, we'll be x-raying this topic while some of our speakers, Ms. Favor, Ms. Linda, Mr. Taiwo, Mr. Aziz, will be talking on some of these areas, and you can now relate what they are saying to how you can navigate into tech and how tech can help you scale. So we're already 11 minutes into our time. I really want to call on Ms. Favor to begin our presentation. She is our first speaker for tonight. Ms. Favor is our first speaker for tonight. She'll be talking on data analysis, and she'll be speaking a lot about it. So please sit back, relax, and there will be questions after each speaker finish talking. So just jot down your questions, and also please take out time to look at the chat session, the comment session, as we'll be dropping some updates on this chat session. So, Ms. Favor. Ms. Favor, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Abraham, for that introduction. I'm glad to be here. Thank you all for joining. Like Mr. Abraham said, this is going to be an insightful webinar, and I hope we enjoy the webinar. So moving on, I'm going to quickly share my screen. Today, I'll be talking about data analysis. If you're a newbie or you have the passion to learn data analysis, or you're just looking for the right skill that you're going to start with in the tech field. So that's why I'm going to talk about data analysis first. I'm also thanking my other colleagues, Ms. Linda, Mr. Taiwo. Thank you all. I hope this webinar is very insightful. So let me quickly share my screen. If you're using your phone, you can just make your phone to be in the landscape so that you can see the screen very well. Even if you're not using your phone, or even if you're not using your laptop, just pay attention. I'm sure you're going to get one or two insights from this. So I'm sharing my screen. Mr. Abraham, can you see my screen?
Oh, very well. Your screen is clear. Very well.
Crystal clear.
Okay, thank you. So I'll start. My name is Chinaka Favor, and I'm a data analyst for ITC Tech. Data analysis is not as overwhelming as you think it might be. I see a lot of persons saying, oh, they don't want to learn data analysis because they heard they are going to need to learn how to code and all of that. So I'm going to break it down for you in the simplest way you're going to understand, right? It's not really hard. For me, it's one of the fastest ways to get into the tech field. And with the right skills, with the right knowledge, you would just be flying high in no time. So let me expand this. Right, so a little about me. My name is Favor, a computer science graduate and a proud data girl. I have passion for simplifying data. I've taught, I've trained, I've helped build projects using data tools, and now I help others break into tech. No gatekeeping, just growth. So I hope you enjoy my session. So moving on, we'll be talking about why tech, why now? Choosing a path in tech, tools for data analysis, careers in the data field, and the learning roadmap. So moving on to why tech and why now? You must have been hearing tech, 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 tech. Anywhere you go to, they're telling you to start something in tech. Tech is the next big thing. Tech is the oil money. So the question is, why are we actually learning a skill in tech? Why do we need technology? Why is everybody trying to move into tech, right? So currently there's a global shift toward digital transformation. There is no small business now that you're going to see that does not have a digital presence or a social media presence. Almost every business, every company, every industry, they're moving their business to a website for people to see their businesses better. Then there are a lot of tech roles that are now in high demand. So it's not like the regular times where you just have to learn how to type, how to just use Microsoft Word, and you're going to get a job as a secretary. No. So now there are now more advanced tech roles because we have lots of startups, we have lots of companies, and to fit in their roles, there are some skills you actually need to learn. So that's why you're seeing everybody now trying to learn one or two skills in tech so that when there is a job, they're not going to be left behind. So most of the high demand roles, we have data, we have AI, we have cybersecurity, we have DevOps, we have software engineering, and so on. So another reason why everyone wants to move into tech is because of the remote work opportunities. A lot of persons just want to work from home. They don't want to, they just enjoy the vibe and the comfortable situation that comes with working from their comfort zone. And to me, it's only tech is one of the industries that can allow you to enjoy this working from home feeling, the remote work opportunities. That's why a lot of persons are also moving into tech. And also, the entry path to maybe learn a skill in tech is not really, you must not really have a tech background. At the long run, you might have to learn a lot of skills, but to actually start learning something in tech, you don't need to maybe graduate from computer science or have a PhD in software engineering before you now break into a very good course in tech. So as far as you're willing to learn, and you have passion for what you're learning, it's very easy for you to learn a good skill and also thrive in it. So tech today is no longer optional. It's a core part for every industry. And to me, that is why I feel tech is the in thing right now. So choosing your path is one of the things you need to consider. So before choosing your path, you should know your interests and your strengths. Like I said, we have lots of roles. We have cybersecurity, we have DevOps, we have software engineering, we have UI, UX design, a whole lot. So you should know what you have passion for and then choose your niche. So if you're someone like me that likes working with information, someone that likes telling stories, data analysis is the best for you. So your interest, your strengths, your learning style, if you know that you can actually take like 5 hours to learn something new in a day, you can actually start learning something in tech because you just have to learn new things every day. Secondly, your time commitment and tech exposure, and also the market demand in your region, and as well transferable skills from past experience. One example for this last point is just imagine you want to start learning something else in the data field. Like the data field is so broad. We have data analysis, we have data science, we have data engineering, and so much more. So if you want to learn something in data engineering or data science, you're going to thrive better if you are taking a course in data analysis. So you transferring your skills from the past experience to this new one makes it easier for you to learn a new course in that field, right? So now we're going to focus on data analysis because data analysis is a growing domain. So I'm going to dive into what data analysis is, the tools for data analysis, the challenges we face, and how you can overcome them. So I'm sure you must have been hearing about data analysis. So like I said, I'm going to break this down for you the way you're going to understand it perfectly. So data is information, facts, numbers, text, clicks that you generate every second. So for instance, when you like a post, that is data. So I'm going to use one of the popular social media app we have now, for instance, TikTok. So if you like a certain post on TikTok or you search for, can you hear me?
Yes, Miss Favor, we can hear you. Please go on.
Okay, sorry. So, for instance, when you like a particular post on TikTok or you search for an item on TikTok, automatically, not just TikTok, other social media platforms, automatically your FYP brings out results of what you search. For instance, if you search about maybe a blender, you're going to be seeing related content, related videos. Why? Because the post you have liked has automatically given an algorithm for the kind of post you should be seeing on that social media app. As well, maybe when someone buys something online, that's also data. So at the long run, everyone here in this webinar has been able to work with data one way or the other. When you check your bank balance, there is data being stored, there is data being processed, and there is data being retrieved. For instance, your bank statement, right? So if there's any issue in one of our transactions, we quickly rush to the bank, go to the customer service, how is the cashier, how is the customer service person being able to retrieve your information? Because your information has been stored in a database. So that's why it's easy for them to quickly query that database to bring out the information about a particular day and all the transactions that happened that day in your accounts. So it's just for us to know that everything we actually work with, we're actually working with data. So now this data we are working with as a data analyst can be very messy and useless until you refine it. And that's where a data analyst comes in. So the ability to be able to tell a story out of the data you already have, the ability to manage the data you have, create a database that can store data efficiently, and other skills. This is what makes you a data analyst. So now in the market field, I know that data analysis is one of the saturated tech fields we have, because maybe once someone has learned Excel or Power BI, they now feel, oh, I'm a data analyst. But it takes more to actually be a data analyst. If you don't have passion for telling stories, if you don't have passion for getting insights from information, if you cannot sustain or maybe have a proper documentation, you can't actually thrive as a data analyst. So we can be a lot of data analysts out there, but the skills you have is going to set you apart from every other person. So now one of the questions, like I just explained here, when you like a post, that's data. When someone buys something online, that's data. Another example is, I'm going to show you how data is also generated. I know a lot of us must have come across maybe one survey form or the other. So this is just a practical example for us to know how data is actually generated. Answering survey forms, responding to emails is also a way how data is being generated. So I've curated a very simple survey form here. So you can, if you're with your laptop, you can quickly use your phone to scan this QR code. If you're not with your laptop and you're with your phone, you can as well just check our IG page, ITC underscore tech underscore. Just when you go to the bio, you're going to see the survey form there. So all the information you're going to impute in that survey form, you're actually giving me a data I'm going to work with. So at the end of the day, I know that Microsoft Form already has an automated dashboard that gives an insight to all the answers you're going to put in the survey form. But aside from the automated dashboard, as a data analyst, you should also be able to create that kind of dashboard. So let's just imagine there was no automated dashboard and I'm only working with the data you're going to answer. So now it's left for me to take that data, clean it, transform it, and make it to be in a presentable dashboard, more like a report. So when I take this report back to the management, I'm going to tell them that, okay, this was how many people that attended the webinar. These were the questions I asked. This was our answer. So from there, we'll be able to make data-driven decisions. What do I mean by data-driven decisions? So let me use Jumia, for example. So we all know Jumia has this Black Friday where they give out discounts, they have mad sales on that day. So for instance, if I were to be a data analyst for that company, I should be able to know the highest selling product and the lowest selling product. So now, if I know that the lowest selling product is a tripod stand, for example, the next Black Friday, we might possibly decide to increase our adverts for that product or to remove that product altogether. So that decision was not made from assumption. That decision was not made because we are assuming they didn't like it or they liked it. The decision was made because of the insights we gained from our data. This is why data analysis helps businesses to make data-driven decisions, right? So if you've not scanned the code, just quickly scan the code. The questions on the survey form, there are just 10 questions there. If you can't scan the code, you can also visit our IG page to get the survey form as well. If you want me to come back to this screen, I'll have to come back, but I'll have to move on to my other slides. So as a data analyst, you're more like a storyteller. That's why I said, if you want to work as a data analyst, you should actually have passion for telling stories. So a data analyst should be able to look at raw data and help the business make decisions from it. So they are more like detectives. Why are sales dropping? Then they dig into the data using different tools, just like Microsoft Excel, SQL, Power BI. They create charts, they create dashboards, and they write reports. So this is what a dashboard looks like. I also have a QR code here if you want to see the live dashboard. This is what a dashboard looks like. So looking at it here, you might actually think that, oh, this is just maybe a photoshopped design or maybe a CorelDRAW design. No, someone actually built this dashboard. And when you view this QR code and go to the website, you're going to see how interactive this dashboard is. So this is a financial analysis dashboard. So this dashboard is already giving insights on the total revenue, the total expenses, the gross profit, and so on for a business. So all these slicers here, all these things are very interactive. So if you click on a particular month, you're going to see the total revenue for that month, or the expenses, or the gross profit. So you can streamline your information to what you want to view on the dashboard. So this is more like storytelling. So if I present this now to stakeholders, they should understand what they've been able to generate so far, the revenue, the expenses, and so on. So we have the tools for data analysis, Microsoft Excel, SQL, and Power BI. So I'm going to quickly break down how these tools work. So Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet used for organizing and analyzing data. So your data is going to be stored in a particular place. It could be stored in Microsoft Excel or any other place, or SQL, right? Then Power BI is the tool that is going to help you to create visualizations just like this. So Power BI is actually used for creating reports like this, while SQL is a programming language used for querying database, used for managing database. Earlier on, I mentioned about you going to the bank and complaining about a transaction, and they're being able to go back to your information and retrieve the data. So one of the programming languages they can use for that is SQL. So now Python is more like an advanced programming language where you can now clean your data, manipulate it, and also use Python maybe to extract data from a website, which is web scraping. So this is how the 4 tools work for data analysis. Then lastly, last but not the least, we have different careers in data analysis. If you have these skills, you can be a data analyst, a business analyst, a data engineer, data scientist, or database administrator. So to thrive in any of this role, you must have a solid foundation in data analysis. So if you want to move to data, if you want to be a data scientist, you're not going to stop at learning just Excel, SQL, or Power BI. You have to move on to learning machine learning and so on. So now, what is the best way to learn? Research, curiosity, teamwork, creativity, and lastly, I put in ITC Tech. You might be wondering, oh, why is ITC Tech part of the options? I mean, for me, it's one of the best options because we're going to break down this process to you the best way you're going to understand it. We're going to work on hands-on projects. We're going to guide you through every process, and make sure that at the end of the day, you're able to defend what you've actually learned, help you build a portfolio, and so on. So I feel it's one of the best way you can actually learn. Apart from you researching, you being curious, and you being creative, if you don't have the best guide, you're going to maybe drift away and not actually learn the main thing you want to learn. So this is just a simple roadmap. If you want to learn data analysis skill, Excel, SQL, Python, data visualization tools, like I said earlier on. So I don't think there's any other thing. One of the bold steps you need to take is you should not actually wait to be perfect before you start. Stay consistent even when it's hard. Don't just watch videos. Make sure you're dedicated. Make sure you actually want to make something meaningful from what you're learning. And believe me, if you're serious and you're dedicated, you're going to enjoy every bit of it. So this is an opportunity for you as well to join our community. We also have the link to our community on our IG page. You can also click on the link in our Instagram page to get access to the community. So in this community, we're going to make sure you stay guided. You're going to learn with us. We're going to celebrate your growth and take you every step of the way. So with that, I think that's all. I was informed I don't have a lot of time. So thank you so much, and I'll be expecting your questions. Thank you, Mr. Abraham.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Favor. That was actually an expose that was very exciting. Um, However, it's still very in depth, very in depth. And thank you very much, Miss Favor. Now, I'm sure some of you want to have questions you want to ask. Now, Miss Favor has just told us about what drives an individual into being a data analyst, um, your roadmap in the world of data analysis, um, those jobs that are open to you as a data analyst, and then career um, growth, being a data analyst. Now, I want to speak in clear terms that we all can understand. Um, Data analysis, as she has rightly said, opens a whole lot of door to everyone. So please, we still have other speakers. You leave your questions after the speakers are done. We'll go back to your questions, and speakers can pick your questions. Um, our next speaker is Miss Linda. Miss Linda is a foremost business analyst. She will be telling us about business analysis and how it's relative to the changing work environment. Miss Linda, can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you.
Oh, all right. Hi, Miss Linda. Okay. The floor is yours. Um, I'll beg your indulgence to be brief as possible and then just give us the whole package you have for us. Thank you very much, Miss Linda.
All right, thank you. Hi everyone, good evening. Um, my name is Linda, and I currently work as a business analyst. Um, and I'm here to just share a glimpse. I wouldn't be too long. I'll just be very brief about what being a business analyst really means and why it's such a dynamic role, and where opportunity lies, whether you're just starting out or just looking to evolve in your career or looking to transition. I'll just talk a bit about it. So a business analyst is basically a connector. So um, I think um, Madam Favor said a lot about data, and that's just what's in tech. So, for a business analyst, for me as a business analyst, I see myself as a connector between data and decision making. People and technology, especially now that we're in a digitalized world where everything is going digital. We have AI and a lot of other good technology out there, and basically business goals and customer needs. So what we do as business analysts is just to connect that and find a meaning, understand business needs and find solutions, make recommendations. It just sounds very um strong. Like when you hear data analysis, business analysis, it's just very simple. There's no um like, what I'm trying to say is, when you hear those words, don't think it's like what we're doing on the job is like trying to go to war or something. It's just very simple. I'm going to still talk about maybe my day on the job. It's just a simple career line, basically. So my key responsibilities of a business analyst is just like repeating what I just said earlier: understanding business needs and turning them into requirements, bridging the gap between stakeholders. As business analysts, you hear stakeholders a lot. As data in the tech world, basically, you hear about your stakeholders a lot. So basically, bridging the gap between stakeholders and technical teams. Analyzing data to inform strategy and improve processes, helping organization make smarter data-driven data-driven decisions. So as Madam Chinasa said earlier, it's everything we do now is basically data. You're putting in your account, the data is retrieved, is stored. So everything we do is data. So for example, in my role, I've worked on various projects, but the one I stand or the one I tend to resonate around is the one where we needed to change like an operating model of our technology partners. And in that project, I had to work with the data, I had to work with the financial data, make some analysis of it, then make recommendations, build dashboards similar to what Madam Chinasa showed you. Just build dashboards, use that dashboard, go into meetings, make talk about your findings, because in the world we are right now, like I said, it's very digitalized. Nobody wants to make qualitative assumptions or just move on. I think, or I feel, you know, people see COOs, CEOs, CFOs, they want to hear facts. They want to hear data. Oh, I'm saying this based off on data. I'm saying this based off on the findings I have. I would recommend this. You're showing them process maps. You're telling them this is the gap between this and this is why I'm recommending this. Just finding that bridge, basically. Um, so why is it a great time to be a business analyst? I've just said it. The world is increasingly data centric. Organizations need interpreters. Like, it's not just being a data analyst, that's where it ends. You need to still be able to make presentations, talk about your findings, convince them, you know, make your presence valuable in wherever company you are. So, people who can make sense of, it's not just being a data analyst or a business analyst, but making sense of complex data. That is, where a BA shines. So there are driving demands in of BA. In We can talk about like digital transformation, AI adoption, agile ways of working. Like for my company, we call it AWOW. So um, telling way of working. So that is the new methodology which a lot of companies are embracing. So BAs are key players, in product team. You also have ESG. ESG is becoming a big thing, even in Nigeria. ESG is becoming, a lot of people are actually cashing out from ESG. That's environmental, social governance, sustainability, basically. A lot of people are also, there are BAs, also in that field to help track, look for the best methodology. I also tend to support in that field, in that area as well. So what I'm trying to say is that BA are not just, about gathering requirements, we're also expected to bring insight, foresight, bring value. I said that earlier. If you're a BA and you're in a team and your value is not felt, then you're not a BA, basically. So one of the best parts about this field is I'm going to always, run back and forth with what Madam Chinasa said. There's diversity, when it comes to career opportunities as a business analyst. You can say, okay, as a business analyst, I want to be data driven. I want to just work with data. Then you can also work as a data analyst, or you can work as a business intelligence consultant. Trust me, most of these roles are overlapped. Maybe they just have a different name. But if you think about it, if you look at the roles, if you look at the responsibilities, if you look at the task, that is required on this role, it's basically business analysis in a broader term. So you can also work as a strategic business analyst. They have different types of business analysis. They have the strategic business analysis. You have the tactical business analyst or operational business analyst. If you're looking at to go into the strategic part, you could be a product owner, you could be a project manager. A project manager can actually be a business analyst. A lot of these roles overlap. And the good thing, I'm just going to use myself as an example. I don't want to talk too much. I think I'm working with a very limited time. So for me, as example, I'm going to use myself. I'm a business analyst, and I'm even transitioning to become a data scientist, later in the year. And switching, I was telling Mr. Abraham yesterday that I'm actually switching my role from not just being a business analyst, but also going deep, deep, deep into the technical part of it, like working with business intelligence tools like ClickView. I work with Power BI very well, but now I'm going to go into ClickView, build apps, and all of that, because it's a career that is very versatile. Like you can, transition into different fields, into different industries, or specialize in different domains. So I know in Nigeria, maybe they don't call it business analysis, like you might not see out there, but abroad, yeah, like even in my company there, like I was going through like a job site in my company, and the job I saw the most that they were looking for were business analysts and data analysts. So you can decide to just move around. You can even decide to become a solution architect if you want to be very tech focused, or you can decide to even be a solution designer, system analyst. Like you can transition back and forth depending on how technical you want to be. For me, I love the technical part of it, so it's just based off on your mindset and based off on what you want from it. So business analyst is really broad, and one thing I love about it, like I said before, the domain is really versatile. So the skills to invest in, it's not just wanting to be a BA. You have to be analytical, have that analytical thought or way of thinking, problem solving, know how to communicate with your stakeholders. It's This career line is not for introverts. You can, unless you know how to you know play the two sides. Maybe if you're an introvert, as long as you're getting into that 9 o'clock and you're going into your work, you have to put on that hat of an extrovert. You have to talk, you have to communicate, you have to understand the needs of your stakeholders. That is when you're making value or providing value. Then there are also skills like process modeling. In ITC Tech, you hear about it, where we talk about BPM and business processing modeling notation. We talk about user stories, process mappings, and all of that. Then soft skills, you also have to be empathetic. You have to have negotiation skills. Read books and all of that. Then you also have to be a facilitator. If you cannot facilitate workshops, one-to-one interviews, brainstorming sessions, then this career line is not for you. And I'll top it up and say the best skills when it comes to being a business analyst or being in tech is listening. Listening is key, not just to what it's said, but you know to what is meant. You need to understand what your stakeholders need. You need to understand their pain. You need to feel their pain for you to be able to give recommendations and give solutions and solve whatever problem it is. Remember, you're the bridge between their needs. You're the magician, basically. I call us magicians. So yeah, so if you're considering a career in business analysis, or you want to grow within it, you have to say yes to messiness of change. Like I said, agile methodology. There are different methodologies. There's the traditional method, which is the waterfall method, and there's the agile method, which most companies are going for now. You have to be a change ambassador. You have to love change. You have to be flexible, but when you make up your mind to know the career to transition in tech, would kind of go deep, 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 deep into that. So yeah, like I said, business analysis role is full of opportunities. I mentioned like different career transition. I even use myself as an example. you can just transition in different way, like in different domains when it comes to business analysis. And if you can embrace change, then you become a driver of value. So having said that, I don't know, I'm just trying to work with very limited time. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. If you want to know more about business analysis and all of that, you can drop your questions. I think Mr. Abraham will pick it up. But yeah, thank you guys, and it was nice talking with you.
All right, all right. Thank you very much, Miss Linda. That was a whole lot of package, and wow, you must be a good listener to be a good business analyst. Miss Linda, just okay, you did mention Agile and Scrum as part of the tools used in you need to get in your skill set to be a good business analyst. That was insightful. That was real, real helpful. You also talked about the career progression in being a business analyst and the overlapping roles, being a business analyst, being a data analyst, the overlapping roles. That's also very insightful. And for persons who are picking up projects, you need to understand that being a business analyst as a project manager or a product manager will help you to coordinate projects, tech projects to ensure that it is delivered on time and in budget and within expectation, and the deviation, you also manage the deviation from actual. So those are um, some of the play feeds that the business analyst do his or her thing. Now, before we move on to the next speaker, I really want to recognize the presence of our international audience. You're highly welcome. I'll also again want to recognize the presence of our oil and gas audience. You are welcome. I'll recognize the presence of our undergraduate audience. You all are welcome to this exciting webinar being hosted and sponsored by Infinix Tech Cloud. The webinar, once again, is about the career opportunities in tech, how to find that skill set, how to get that skill set that is relevant to you and your environment. Before now, Miss Favor Chinaka, she has talked about what data analysis is and what it holds for everyone. It was actually very insightful. Like I said, your questions, you can jot them down. You can also drop them in the chats so that they can be answered. You can drop your questions in the chat so they can be answered. However, there will be time for you to ask your questions after the session. Miss Linda, she just told us about being a business analyst and the career opportunities embedded in the job description of a business analyst. Again, there are questions you want to ask, please jot them down. You can also drop them in the chat box, in the chat here, and then they'll be answered. Again, you need to understand that being a business analyst is one of those no-code roles in tech, in the tech field. So for those persons who are shying away from coding and the likes, business analysis is your calling. Again, just before we move on to the next speaker, I want us to just everyone, please move on to the chats aspect of click on the chats icon, and we already dropped our links We have our Instagram link. Please click on it. You'll still be on the call with us. Click on the link. And please do well to follow us on Instagram. There we also share our everyday journey. You also click on our Facebook link. Please click and follow us on Facebook. We share our everyday journey as a tech company. Then lastly, please, if you've done that, thank you very much. Oh, I see some persons are already clicking on and following us on our link. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll do all to follow back immediately. Now, lastly, amongst what we have here is our Google Forms. It's to get insight into your experience here, what you're experiencing in the webinar. Please click and fill the Google Forms for us. That is the last form we have for you. However, again, this webinar is being hosted and sponsored by ITC Tech or Infinix Tech Cloud. Infinix Tech Cloud. I'll drop our website also, infinixtechcloud.co.uk. Like I said, Infinix Tech Cloud is a global company, headquarters in the UK. It is owned by Nigerians, and then it's here to generate and produce resourceful tech skill sets to solve both individuals and companies' challenges, also to provide tech solutions. Right about now, our next speaker will be Mr. Taiwo. Mr. Taiwo is the Chief Technical Officer with ITC Tech and also Luca Consulting. Mr. Taiwo will be talking about web development. Mr. Taiwo is a foremost tech guru in Nigeria. He has created products that is being used in universities and in businesses outside Nigeria. He's also built product that is being used by the CBN. So please, he'll be talking about web development. Mr. Taiwo, the floor is yours. We hope you can manage your time with us for just about 10 minutes. So Mr. Aziz, please get ready. Whatever questions you want to ask my dear audience, you just jot it down. And after Mr. Taiwo's presentation, after Mr. Aziz's presentation, we'll pick your questions one after the other. Thank you very much. Mr. Taiwo, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Mr. Taiwo.
My name is Taiwo Akinosho. I will be taking you through a bit about web development and how to build a career in that direction. Right. So trying to get my file. Okay, found it. All right. So like I said, my name is Taiwo Akinosho. I've been in the industry for over 20 years. And I've worked across quite, tech is vast. So I've worked in networking, moved to web development, and done some business analysis along the way. But I'll be talking on web development and the CTO of Infinix Tech Cloud. So we handle our in-house technologies as well as that for our customers. So I think mine will be a bit easy because all of us know what web is. It's easier than Linda's business analysis and explaining that to people, which is a bit abstract. So who is a web developer? So that's the title for my presentation. So I mean, a web developer is somebody who has the skills to build either websites or web applications. Now there's a difference. Websites are probably 99% of what we have out there, which is just web solutions that just provide some basic information. Company websites, brochure websites, they are not really doing so much in the back end. So they call them websites. Then web applications are just front-end web interfaces with a lot of work in the back end, things like Google, Facebook. Facebook is not a website, it's an application. There's so much magic going on in the back end of it, but it presents it to users, to customers as a web front end. So we have Twitter, Instagram, their web applications. Now, the web development has been broken down into three parts now. I know that maybe 15 years ago, it was not usually discussed in these categories. But based on how it looks and how the work is done, it's now broken down into either you're a front-end developer, a back-end developer, and a full stack. So front-end is what the customer sees, right? So the customer sees the beauty of the site, the colors of the site. That's what the UI UX is, the beauty of the site. The front-end work is still a bit of coding and all that stuff, but people interchange those two terms. The back end is where the real magic happens, especially if you're doing a web application. So you can imagine a company like Facebook would have maybe 90% back end engineers and maybe 10% front end engineers. What we see is just a tip of the iceberg of what's going on within those applications. And the full stack is somebody who can do both front end and back end. I would have argued maybe like 3 years ago that I don't believe there's anybody who is full stack, because it's really a tough balancing act to have the skill to be good with colors and design, and at the same time have the skills to do a lot of back-end engineering, networking, and some serious coding to get the sites and database. It's just a lot of work. But now I'm a bit more lenient on saying they are full stack. And that's because there are now a lot of AI tools that can assist you in areas where you are not strong. So if you're a back-end person with strong database skills, programming skills, and your front-end skills are not strong enough, there are tools now that can help you quickly solve some of those problems. But you still need to know the basics of the basic technologies behind them. For me, it's like looking at somebody who's a mechanic and a rewire at the same time. It's tough to admire a mechanic and a rewire, but these days there are tools that can help you get those things done. So that's it. So if you have front-end skills and back-end skills, so when you hear people say I'm a full-stack developer, that means they're saying that they can do everything, both the back end and the front end, and make the whole application or website look good. But in quite a number of projects, you end up getting a UI UX designer to help you do the design while you work on the back end, which is a back end person. So why would you choose web development? One, everybody goes to a website every day, so it's a tool that everybody gets to use. So there's always a reason for a job or something in that direction. I mean, the last 2 weeks I've had like 3 conversations of possible projects, ongoing projects on websites. So it's a high demand and need. Everybody has touched the website today, one way or the other. The salaries can be competitive, and the salaries can be really good, especially if you are doing some serious back-end development work. Let me put it that way. It's flexible. You can work from home. You can start a project all by yourself and finish it all by yourself. You can be a freelancer. You can work on multiple projects at your convenience. It's quite a skill worth having if you get to understand the technology behind it. Then especially when you're doing things like building some serious applications to solve business problems, then you're really going to go down a big rabbit hole, and you have to be really creative while you're doing it. It's quick entry. You don't need a degree. Nobody's going to ask you if you're a web developer what school you attended or what degree. Nobody cares. People don't even know what you do these days, what you studied these days, until maybe you have a conversation and you get to know. There is somebody in this class, TK, who was in one of our classes, and I think he studied business, and he joined our team like maybe 6 months ago. Green around the edges, no knowledge of anything HTML or whatever. And right now he's already on task. Hey, go fix this, go fix that. And he's doing it pretty good. So you need no entry into this other than being intelligent and being ready to learn and do the work. Like Favor said, it's a journey. It's a long journey. As long as you're ready to keep learning, you would eventually get there. So this is similar to the previous way. You can be a freelancer, backend developer, and all that stuff. So what do you need to learn to be in this space? It's a lot of technologies. When people look at some of these things, it's so many moving parts. So it can be overwhelming, which is why it's a journey. Don't rush. But one thing I'll advise is start doing something quickly. Else you get into that I don't know what you call it again, study horror, where you just keep studying tutorial horror. You just keep studying and you don't have any product to show for it. You have nothing to show for it. So if you want to learn, if you want to be a web developer, these are some of the tools you need to know. The first part is the front end. Now, the front end, I'll even call it the beginner's part. I believe that the first thing any web developer should learn is HTML. It's not going anywhere. It's permanently here. And if you start with HTML and you get the basics of how the web presents information to browsers, you are halfway there. CSS is a styling thing for your site to have some nice colors and all. That's more used mostly by the UI UX guys. JavaScript is used in the front end for interactivity. And React, you can use React to build both mobile apps, but React is a bit more advanced. It's not something you will do in the early stage of learning to be a web developer. In the back end, you're going to be using programming languages like Node.js, Python, which is probably the most popular programming language now. I have a colleague who says doesn't even bother using any other programming language anymore. That he just found out that Python does everything for him to present it to the front end. Then you can do PHP if you don't want to do Python. And then you can some machine learning and AI, which is also still using tools like Python to get things done. Then obviously you need somewhere to store your data. So you need to either be a database engineer or I think have some basic. One thing about web development is with a 10% knowledge across the board, you can really get things done and you just get better as you go along. There's just so much to do. Then you need tools like Git to do your version control. Git is a tool that I wonder how we all survived without it, until it was created. With Git, you can rest easy and get your jobs done and not be worried about mistakes that you cannot rewind from. GitHub allows you to have your repositories. Also Bitbucket and GitLab and so. Then I mentioned Linux here because I do more back-end work and I realized that you really need to know how to move around your system. And 90% of the backend, if not 100% of backend servers run on Linux. So I would add it to my own list of roadmap tools that need to be understood. Then as you get deeper down the line, you can start learning how to manage your deployments between live and your development servers and staging servers and things like APIs to integrate to other systems. So we mentioned the kind of tools you need. So our advice, if you want to be a web developer, is to follow a roadmap. Now, it's a marathon. You can spend 1.5. Don't rush. It's too much. It's too many tools. Sometimes I try to work on tools I've not even really used, and you'll be overwhelmed. But one thing I'll say, just start doing it. Just pick your keyboard up and just start typing something and trying something and make it a project. So this is like a roadmap to guide you. So the first thing you would need to learn, like I mentioned, is HTML. I would recommend it. I've not even mentioned something like if people have worked with web-related people, you might have heard of WordPress and things like that. I'm not going to mention WordPress because they're not really web development tools that can help you build a long-lasting skill. I'm not saying WordPress is bad. I know people that live on WordPress and they do pretty good on WordPress. It can build websites, but it can't build web applications. Well, maybe it can, but I've not seen any serious Fortune 500 tech company using WordPress to build their tools. It will fail. It's not even possible. Let's make it possible. So the first thing you learn is HTML, and you just learn the basic HTML, styling, and JavaScript. That's really the backbone of your website on the front end, So it pretty much is telling you start from the front before you now start going to the back. Then, so by the time you learn those basic tools, you're going to go, so you can spend like 1 or 2 months doing that. I don't even think you need to spend that much if you are really smart at what you're doing. But as long as you are practicing and you have a project to work on, then you would really learn faster. In the second to the third month, you can go into advanced JavaScript, learn how to use it, learn some React to do your applications, which is JavaScript frameworks really. So I will talk a bit about frameworks later. And you can also do the some task and say, okay, let me do the weather application or a to-do list with API data. 3 to 4, you focus on the back end, learn some back end database and things like that. Then phase 4, you can be a full mechanic and the rewire and do some full stack deployment on both the front and the back. So if you look back here, you'll see some projects that are also, whatever you're doing, use a project to learn it. So you can see here, deploy a blog with comments on CRUD application. CRUD is just a short form of saying create, read, update, and delete. If you look at the web, everything you do is pretty much, as long as it's storing data.
Mr. Taiwo, please. Your slide is not moving. I don't know.
Where are you on?
You're still on page 1 of your slide.
Page 1?
Yes, your slide is still on page 1.
Really?
Yes, please.
Let me stop sharing my slide.
Okay, it's on page 3 now.
Just stop sharing.
Okay.
Let me share it again. It's on page 3 now. Where is it now? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Where is it now?
It's in page 3.
It's on page 3. Maybe I won't even put it in slide. Let me leave it like this. Now you're on page 4. Okay,
yeah, page 4, yeah.
Past all this, I've explained what full stack and what front end, what a full stack is. Front end plus your back end skills is what makes you full stack. And your front end is what users see. Your back end is the magic behind the scene. So like we mentioned, things like ChatGPT, Facebook, and co. There's a lot of magic going on in the back end. There's a lot of work. That's back end work. What people are seeing is just the front end. There's really nothing much on Google's front end. It's just one search bar, but with that search bar, you're wondering why they're making billions, because there's a lot of work going on in the back end, doing the searches, doing the indexing, and all that stuff. That's real development work. Ability to know how to do the back end and the front end is what makes you a full stack developer. Then we talked about this already, the reasons why it's a good career path. You can easily see how you can be at home and make some money. It's in high demand. Everybody goes to one website or the other every day. I'm sure there are people here that are taking on the website for their company or for their small businesses and things like that. And you don't need any skill set to do it. So we've talked about tools. So we're talking about the roadmap, which is where I think maybe you had stopped me. So with the roadmap, we're just giving a guide on how to get into, because sometimes you need advice, you need suggestions. So the advice is start with basic. If you are interested, start with learning HTML and CSS. Learning HTML and CSS, basically, it will look like it's like, why am I learning this? But when you start doing advanced things, it all just comes together. I just realize that, oh, this is what puts, or this is the glue that puts it all together. So I would also suggest that if you want to learn, try and learn with a project. Don't study and study and study. In fact, within the first 2 days, try something out. That way it's going to stick. Because when you work with people and you're showing them stuff, when you tell them to try it, you just realize that, oh, they start asking you so many questions. Like, I've been showing you this all week, but until they try it, you won't really stick. So like back to the roadmap. So you also have to, so it's just a grade from the simple parts all the way to the difficult parts. So when you get to at this level, probably like maybe a year and a half down the line, you can start saying you want to go DevOps and learn how to, do your continuous delivery and integration, which is now this is what I call it, golden goose or I don't know what to call this. But if you look at applications, generally speaking, let's say WhatsApp. Sometimes you just open your WhatsApp and that's updated. You didn't update it, you didn't do anything. You just notice that you have some new features. That's CI/CD. You know how to push updates quickly to your software, so to your installation, without you having to run an installation. You go to some web applications or some web online, you see Facebook is looking different today. Next it is looking different again. So there's a continuous work going on that now allows them to put in small little bits of changes, and it makes the whole process very agile. So my tips, if you're a beginner, even if you're not a beginner, avoid tutorial hell, which is what I mentioned. It's people just read and read. I say, I've been studying data analysis for the past 6 months, and yet you haven't done anything with it because you're in tutorial hell. Have a consistent study habit. 30 minutes a day might sound little, but if you think about it, in a week you've done like maybe 3 hours of study. And I'll tell you the truth, you never do 30 minutes. Once you start, before you do it, you have done 2 hours. So, but at least pretend to yourself you're going to spend 30 minutes, and before you know it, you are deep down the rabbit hole, and you'll get interested. Set clear goals, find a project, embrace the marathon mindset, which is it's a long journey. It's a really long journey. Who knows why I put 26.2 there? Does anybody know why I put 26.2 on my slide? Anyone?
Okay, if you know, you can signify by raising your hands. You can signify by raising your hands if you know. All right, Mr. Taiwo, you can just keep going so we can wrap this on time. We've already spent a lot of our time.
We need to go on stock and things like that. Anyway, 26.2 is 26.2 miles. That's the distance of the marathon. So to do, start learning it, start the journey. There are a lot of tools and resources you need. There's a tool let me quickly show you, which I think you should all go and check. It's called roadmap.sh. It allows you to, I'm not sure I can see this screen. If you go to the roadmap.sh, you'll see a roadmap guide for different skills. That'll tell you all the tools you need to learn in those skills. And you can mark them as done and done and done, and before you know it, it's almost like your guide. Let me see if I can quickly share that screen. Then I'll be rounding up. Microsoft Edge, yeah, I think this is one. Yeah. So you can see this. This is the roadmap. So you can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so if you go to roadmap.sh, you'll see something like, oh, you want to be a front-end developer, back-end, or a full-stack developer. Click on your area of interest and start with front-end. And you'll see this roadmap of skills that you need to learn. And you can start learning them and ticking them off one by one. So if you click on this skill now, you'll see quite a number of resources that will guide you through learning them. You stop learning on your own, by the way, but I mean, it's always nice to have a mentor. But the truth about this thing is you need to also know that you need a lot of tools that you can really get access to quickly. So let's say you've learned each skill. I think there are even some things on business analysis where you can just mark it as done and you can just do a checklist. So that's one of the tools you can learn from. Then also, if you're a back-end person in strength and you don't have front-end skills, there are tools that can help you with front-end these days with AI. There's one called b0.dev that allows you to describe the website you're trying to build and just build the entire HTML and CSS design for you. I can tell you I don't like these colors, can you change the colors, and just, so it's pretty much done 80% of what you would have looked for a UI, UX, or a front-end person to do for you. So that's why I believe that you can actually be a full-stack person using. Then you would need to learn a framework if you want to really go deep into building applications, which is why I tried not to talk much about WordPress and code because it's not a career path. So with a framework, you can pretty much, you don't need to write so much code, but get the basics right. And you have frameworks that can help you quickly build features and build forms, build submissions, and all sorts of magic going on. So there are frameworks like Frappe. Frappe is what we actually use. We wear a Frappe shop. I know it's a very, very popular framework, but it works for us. It's a Python-based framework. Then there's Django, there's Flask, there's Ruby on Rails. There's Laravel for PHP, and also get acquainted with using an IDE. An IDE is integrated development environment where you can write your code. The most popular will be Visual Studio Code, but we have AI-driven IDEs now, like Winsoft, Puzzle, where you can also describe your software and it builds the code for you. You still have to understand what you're doing. So I think I've said enough about web development. If you have any questions, I think we should put it together and we can look at it later. I will share the full roadmap as a PDF. I just took some clips out of it. I don't know if we should share that in this group, but so that's what we do. We have like 2 of our students here that now work with us in this group. So we're not just training people; we're training them to be, useful, to be productive. Let's figure out a way to be productive. So we have like 2 of our students here that are now staff of Infinix Tech, and they're doing awesomely well working for us. I believe Rose is also here. So on that, I would say thank you very much. We look forward to more conversations in this direction. Yeah, Abraham, I'm done.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Taiwo. Mr. Taiwo, that was real eye-opening for every one of our audience, even for myself. That was eye-opening. You talked about building a career in learning the codes, because the frameworks are not actually a career, but the frameworks are there to make the job easier and simpler. The world is tilting towards a direction where things are made easier, things are made simpler. For our audience, we'll be taking you through the steps of learning the hard way and the steps of learning through the simple way. You should also understand that ITC Tech, which is Infinix Tech Cloud, is a sister company to Enluca Consulting. You should also understand that by virtue of you being a student or learning any of the tech courses with ITC Tech, you already are employed. You already are employed by virtue of you learning and studying hard. Now, those are some of the sweeteners that comes with learning and learning well with ITC Tech. ITC Tech, again, is purely an online learning edutech, and will also provide tech solutions purely online. So we have our offices in strategic places within Nigeria and in Europe. We have our offices here in Asaba. We have our office in South Africa. We have our office in Ibadan. So you can also take out time to go through our website, which is infinixtechcloud.co.uk. infinixtechcloud.co.uk. We have lots of offerings. However, just to say for our audience who are here, after this session will be for those persons who will be willing to join as students of ITC Tech Cloud. After our speakers are done, there will be a discount opening for those who are willing to make financial commitments to learning. Now, again, let me reiterate. By learning with ITC Tech, you already are 80% chance to gaining an employment with ITC Tech. ITC Tech have their products, have their softwares, which they are marketing and which is being sold all over the world. So we do need people with the right skill sets and the ability to work. We need them to be trained and get work with us. So that is just a side sweetener for this event. So our next speaker will be Mr. Hafiz Aziz. Mr. Hafiz Aziz. Mr. Hafiz Aziz will be talking about cybersecurity. Again, like I've said, at the end of all this, will be open to massive discounts for individuals who are ready and willing to make down payments to register on our courses from this evening till tomorrow evening is open for just 24 hours. So Mr. Hafiz Aziz, our cybersecurity experts, the floor is yours, and we're sitting back and listening to you. Thank you very much. Mr. Aziz.
Yes, Mr. Abraham, I can hear you. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Just before you go, please, you can, to our audience, you can drop your questions on the chat. I'm already seeing questions from Victory Kalu. I'm seeing questions from Idudum Orisheti Main. I'm seeing questions from Victory and Idudum mostly. So please, I'm seeing from Kingsley Agomishe, Rufina. I'm seeing questions. Please press pause, Sayinoma, and a whole lot. Please ask your questions, and then we'll give you feedback immediately. Take our time to go through our website. It's there on the page. Mr. Aziz, the floor is yours, and then please.
Yes. Can you see my screen, please? Before
You're not yet projecting. Yeah, I can see your screen, but nothing.
Okay, all right, cool. Yes, I just wanted to confirm you can see my screen.
Yep.
Start sharing. Okay. Full screen mode.
Oh, that's beautiful.
All right. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and stand on an already existing protocol. We've spent quite the time already. So, yes, my name is Hafiz Aziz. I'm a seasoned cybersecurity specialist, cybersecurity auditor, a certified practical ethical worker, and also a certified network security specialist. And I'm going to be taking you through in 15 minutes just how you can become a cybersecurity professional as well. So this short deck is talking about the digital age of cybersecurity and why now is the best time for you to join the cybersecurity world. So let's get right into it. Talking about the digital age, we live in a world where tech is no longer a vocabulary. It's now a common language. Even the older generation these days are also on the internet. They know how to make use of the internet. Almost everyone today is using a smartphone. Almost everyone has more than 2 devices that can connect to the network. Now that technology or tech has become ubiquitous, that we can't do without it, and all of these things are thriving on data, we also need to ask ourselves, is this data actually secure? What things do we put in place to ensure the security of this data that is moving all over the connected world, the internet? Now that brings us to how do we secure our data? Secure our data by applying the principle of cybersecurity. Cyber is a phrase that means the internet, the space, and security means securing that internet space. Now, bringing these two words together, cybersecurity is the practice of protecting the digital systems, networks, and data from unauthorized access, from damage, and from disruption. Now, we use this to ensure 3 things called the CIA triad, to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of our data in this digital world. Now, because of how ubiquitous connectivity has become and how data is now everywhere, it has gone beyond just protecting digital assets, but even our physical assets as well, because these are the assets in which the digital assets are running on. Now, I made mention of the CIA triad. What does that mean? The class means confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We want to ensure that our information is only accessible to those who are supposed to have access to it. We want to ensure that information cannot be modified by anyone else, that is unauthorized alterations, hence ensuring its integrity. We also want to ensure that our systems and data are accessible whenever we need it. Say you have a mobile application, you want your mobile application to be available online 24/7. You don't want to have to tell your users that your application is down and they won't be able to transfer money for the next 24 hours. Availability is very key. However, this availability should only be to those who are supposed to have access to it, and those who have access to it should not be able to modify it unless they also have the right to modify it. Hence, CIA triad. It's all woven together into one. Now, when we now talk of cybersecurity that want to protect our data, what are the things that want to protect our data from? We want to protect our data from what we call vulnerabilities. You know, when you hear a vulnerability, we all know that means a weakness. So it's saying that a weakness in a system, software, or process that an attacker can exploit. Now, no matter how perfect or how secure a system might be, it's definitely going to have vulnerabilities. I mean, just imagine if human beings are not perfect, how can we then make a perfect system when we are not perfect ourselves? No matter how perfectly the system works, it has vulnerabilities in them. Now, what are the common vulnerabilities? Human error, weak passwords, outdated software, poor network configurations, and the list goes on. This is just a very short list of the common vulnerabilities we have out there in this connected world. Now, when you have vulnerabilities, when you have weakness, you're definitely going to have something that will want to take advantage of that weakness. And that brings us to cyber threats. You know, a threat is a potential danger that can exploit a vulnerability to harm your system, to steal your data, or to take down services. Now, remember I said cybersecurity has three key principles: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. A threat is now something that wants to take advantage of the vulnerability to disrupt the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability. And here on your screen, you can see the different types of cyber threats. You know, the malware, short for malicious software. This falls in the category of your worms, your trojans, your viruses that affect systems and networks. We have phishing attacks. We have denial of service attacks, where you try to bring a service down by sending multiple requests. So it cannot undo that request and then it has to start going down. By that, you've already disrupted its availability. We also have insider threats. You know, threats don't only come from outside, it can also be from within an organization, be it intentionally by malicious insiders or unintentionally by ignorant employees who are not cybersecurity aware. And we also have advanced persistent threats. This is a very dangerous one, and also a nation state kind of attack that whereby these people gain access in your system undetected and in your system for months, maybe even years, gathering as much information as they can before they finally launch their attack. Now, once you have the system, you said that systems definitely have vulnerabilities. And then there are threats that exist to exploit that vulnerability. Once that vulnerability is successfully exploited, there's definitely going to be an impact. And the impact of these attacks could lead to financial loss, reputational damage, as what happened a few weeks ago with Mark and Spencer in the UK, where they had downtime on their online payment and users couldn't make purchases. It caused serious reputational damage to Mark and Spencer. We also have legal consequences in terms of data protection. Imagine if your card details are just all over the internet because a particular bank server got hacked and these details became public information. It could lead to legal sanctions by the authorities. And of course, operational disruptions. It could lead to disruption of business operations. And that also talks about something called business continuity planning, which we'll talk in detail in the course of the program. Now that you understand what cybersecurity is, what vulnerabilities are, and what threats are as well, who is a cybersecurity professional? Now, before I proceed, can you all still hear me? Mr. Abraham, can you still hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you very clear.
All right, thank you very much. Now, who is a cybersecurity professional? I like to call us a digital protector. the cybernetic gatekeepers who secure computer systems, networks, and data from attacks. He's also a problem solver who detects, investigates, and responds. He's a tech expert who uses tools, policies, and best practices, very important, best practices to prevent breaches and ensure system reliability. He's a strategic thinker, which means he doesn't just work alone. He has to work with a team, a collaborative team to assess risk, strengthen defenses, and advise organizations. He's a trusted advisor, meaning whenever you tell your company that, oh, we have a vulnerability here, this is what we have to do to fix it, they trust your judgment. And last but not least, a global guardian. Our work is all about protecting the secure, connected world. Now, what are the roles in cybersecurity? This is another limited list, because if I were to list it all, I might exhaust my entire slide just listing different cybersecurity roles. But these are a few of them, talking about the red team roles, where you are a cybersecurity professional who has the skills to carry out the same kind of attacks that the malicious users can, but you use it in a good way to expose whatever weaknesses exist within your system. The blue team roles are the roles that work more on the defense. They try to prevent attacks from being successful. And then we have hybrid roles, which are a mix of both, and also certain specialized roles, like we have the forensic investigator, threat hunter, cybersecurity consultant, security auditor, and the list goes on. Now, why is cybersecurity skill needed every day? One, millions of attacks occur daily, as reported by threatmap.checkpoints.io. So we want to take a quick look at this threatmap.checkpoints.com. Let me open this quickly. Okay, now take a look at this. As of today, we've had 11,293 attacks, 295,600 attacks and counting. I can't even call the number because it just keeps changing. This is just today alone. Over 11 million attacks have occurred today, and you can see it is still going. So, want to take a look at Nigeria, for example. You can see in Nigeria, we have about 20.8% being botnets, 4.1% being info stealers, 61% of attacks attacking banking, 10% ransomware, and 0.2% of mobile attacks. And that's just, if we were to look at these countries that are having lots and lots of attacks, you can see majority of them are what? Malwares. Now, why wouldn't we need cybersecurity professionals to protect ourselves in this world that is a cyber war zone? Now, let's come back to our slide. Another reason why we need cybersecurity is to protect our data. As I said, your personal information is your data. It's not just gigabytes, megabytes, but who you are, your identity. We want to keep our mobile app secure, our social media accounts, our websites, our platforms, our cloud services, even in healthcare. Health records now are being stored digitally. We've passed the era of having medical files in shelves, in paper files. Now they are accessed digitally. We need to ensure the security of those data as well, the protection of our PHI, personal health information records. Now, what are the best practices for individuals? As an individual, what can you do to protect yourself in this cyber warfare? One is to use strong and unique passwords. It's very important. You'll be surprised that people still use password as password in today's world. They still use 1, 2, 3, 4 as their PIN. You'll think you've gone past that, but people still do that. We want to ensure you use MFA, be cautious with emails and links. And my favorite on this list is limit the personal information you share online. I see a lot of people who are all about sharing and oversharing on Instagram, on WhatsApp statuses, posting pictures and not knowing that their credit card details is in the background on the table where you posted the picture online, and you think somebody hacked into your account, not knowing that you are the one who unknowingly provided your information to the public to see. So limit the personal information you share online. Log out of accounts when not used, and also follow cybersecurity news to stay updated. And here is a list of best practices for companies. An enterprise organization should also be cyber aware. It's very, very important. Starting off with something we call role-based access control. All of these we have on this list are things that we're going to learn how to do and how to implement in the course of the program. Now, what are you going to learn once you join Infinix Tech Cloud? We are going to look at what is called hacking, how it works and how to prevent it. We're going to look at network security. We're going to talk about web and mobile application security. We're going to talk about governance, risk and compliance, and look at tools that I use, that we use in the industry: Kali Linux, Parrot OS, Nmap, Suite, OAuth, Metasploit, and more. The list is endless. Now, before I proceed, we cannot just talk about cybersecurity. We talk about studying cybersecurity without doing a few hands-on demos on cybersecurity. Now, I'm going to come into my Parrot OS here. It is a virtual machine that I use for running cybersecurity assessment. You can see different VMs I have here, but I have just one running now. So say I come into this VM and say maximize this guy. And let's just come to this password check when I made mention about the importance of using secure passwords. Now let's say I use password is password, for example. You can see it's going to take it 6. Sorry, hold on. I use password is password, for example. You can see your password will be cracked instantly. Say I use 123. It says your password will be cracked in 1 month. And it's just how many characters? I think about 12 characters or 11 characters. So you can see whenever you see sites saying minimum of 8 characters, it is not even secure anymore. But say I use a strong password like you can see 49 million. This is my personal password. Now, this is the importance of you mixing passwords to ensure security. Long characters, minimum of 12 characters long, uppercase, lowercase, special characters, numbers, very, very important. Now, another thing I would like to show us is how can we even check if we've ever been hacked before? Maybe our email address credentials are exposed somewhere that we don't know. Maybe somebody has once at some point in time get access to your email. How can you confirm that you are still safe in this cyber war zone as it is? Okay, I think this page is still refreshed. Okay, it's open now. So say I put let me just put one of my email addresses here. Okay. And I do pawn. You can see good news, no pawnage found, meaning my account has not been breached at all. If, for example, peradventure you happen to have 1 pawnage found or 2 pawnage found, what you need to do is, first of all, change your password and next enable the multi-factor authentication. Okay, now this is like on a personal security. What about for an enterprise? Say you have a website, you own a business, you want to see the security of the website, for example. Now, before I go on, I would like to make a disclaimer that cybersecurity is very volatile, meaning what we do is on the bridge of malicious and not malicious, which is why whenever I want to scan a website or scan a web browser, web application, or anything, you need to do it with permission. You need to have the permission of the owners to carry out tests on these websites. However, for learning purposes, we have certain test sites that were intentionally made vulnerable for us to use to practice. And one of them is this certifiedhacker.com. So the test I'll be carrying out would be on these sites that we have the permission to analyze. Now, say I do this now and I just click on the scan button. You can see that we have here its security report is F because it was made intentionally vulnerable. And you can see the vulnerabilities that exist and the reason why they are vulnerable, what should be done to make the websites secure. Now, still on this particular certifiedhacker.com, let's say I want to now do more tests on it. So I'm going to use something called Nmap quickly before I go back to slides.
All right, Mr. Aziz. I don't think anyone is following. Is anyone following at all?
Yes,
are
Yes.
you?
Yes.
yes,
We
we
are
are.
all
I
following.
joined the session. Yes.
I
We
think,
are.
or should we
Mr.
just
Aziz can
close now?
continue, please.
Yeah, we are following.
Yeah, you can continue, please.
Please
Or should we
don't close.
close now?
No,
No.
no, 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 no.
Why are you closing it, Mr. Abraham?
Okay, I just want to be sure people are following because I'm actually enjoying the
We are
session.
following.
All right. Thank you very much.
After we're quiet.
Mr.
Thank you.
Aziz, the floor is yours, sir.
Yes, please. All right, thank you very much. So Tori, I'm just going to be brief now. I'm not going to go too deep. So say want to use a tool called Nmap. Nmap is something called network mapper that we use to access our network. You see, in ethical hacking, we have 5 stages: information gathering, scanning, enumeration, gaining access, maintaining access, and then covering tracks. Now, what I've done here is basic information gathering, right? In just a few seconds, I see the vulnerability that exists in a particular. You can do this for your website on your own. Okay, we're not going to do that publicly here. Now, I now come into Nmap, and I want to gather more information. Yeah. So I now do, first of all, I want to know what is the IP address of this certifiedhacker.com. I simply do a ping www.certifiedhacker.com. Okay, and I hit enter. So remember, all I'm after is just the IP address. I can see it is 162.241.216.16. Now, this IP address is like an house address. It lets us know where you are on the internet. So see, I now run this command, this mmap command -v -v mmap command -p. I want to make it a verbose just to see how many vulnerabilities I can get from here. 162.241.216.11. Okay, so this is verbose mmap command. Don't need to worry about where I brought up this syntax from. They are all in the mmap manual, which you can see above here. So even if you are a beginner to it, this mmap comes with a manual that you can use to know what commands to use to carry out whatever function you want to achieve. Now, you can see it's running now, and I can see that all these ports are open. Ports are like channels of connections on a website or web environment. And I can see all these ports 22, port 443, 587, port 21, port 80 is open on this particular site. Now, let's say I now want to even do more tests on it. I want to find out, okay, if there's any particular service running, let me stop this. And I come into, can that person mute, please? And I come into my Nmap GUI here, which is a friendly version of Nmap. Instead of you looking at this green screen that looks like you are doing something strange, this particular version of Nmap makes it easy for you to use. We see that 162.241.216.11. So I'm going to put that target here, 162.241.216.11. Okay, and here I'm going to put in my command. Now let me just use here an intense scan. Okay, and I click on the scan button. I come to scan monitor, I can see my scan is running. Now, this may take some seconds. I'm just going to let this scan run, and I'll bring us back to our website to do more checks, and then we'll come back to the website as soon as we're done. Another tool I like to use for finding out vulnerabilities on websites is something we call OWASP. This OWASP is very powerful because it allows you not just to run tests, but also generate reports on that test. Now, while this Nmap scan is running, I'm going to bring our attention back to the threat map that I opened earlier. So we can just see the difference in a matter of minutes of the cyber attack that have occurred between when I showed us earlier and now. So You can see I think we're at about 360 something earlier. Now it is 390 something thousand. Meaning in a matter of less than 10 minutes, 30,000 attacks have occurred. So this is tell you that this is happening right now as we are seated. So now we are still on this cyber demos, but to manage time, I'm going to continue with the slide while the scans are running. Talking about the future of cybersecurity. Have you ever wondered what is the future of cybersecurity? The future of cybersecurity is you that's listening to me right now. Because no matter how advanced technology becomes, how sophisticated defense mechanisms get, the beginning and end of security still lies with humans. We are still the ones that need to manage these sophisticated tools, right? So it is important that you, as the human firewall, you matter most. Secondly, cybersecurity is not just a career, it's a mission. Because what was once secure today can be vulnerable tomorrow. It's a game of Tom and Jerry. You know, Tom is always chasing Jerry. Hackers are always chasing after vulnerabilities to find out to exploit them. So by stepping into this field of cybersecurity, you're not only securing systems, but you're protecting privacy, economies, and lives. You know, the future needs ethical, curious, and resilient individuals. The future needs you. So this is where I'm going to say thank you for participating and your attention. In a world of cybersecurity, in a world full of threats, you should be the protector, not the perpetrator. So before I say see you in class and be there, let's quickly take a quick look back at our scans and see where we are there. Let me come back here. Come to scan results. There. So you can see here now, compared to this terminal that showed us results in black and green screen that seems like we are doing something very sophisticated. This particular version of Nmap is more beginner friendly because it uses this neat GUI version. And you can see we have something here. We have SMTP ports open, HTTP ports open, FTP ports open. Say I was to come into my machine and open something called Metasploit. And I want to see, okay, now that I found out that FTP is open, SMTP is open, are they vulnerable? And what kind of vulnerabilities can I exploit in this on these services? That's why it is called Metasploit. It's a tool that is used to exploit systems, hence the name Metasploit. So let's say I so simply come into Metasploit now and I do search command, I do FTP. First of all, I'm going to do search exploits. I'm going to do search exploits. You can see all the different exploits we have. That is exploits that we can use to infiltrate services that have this particular vulnerabilities existing. Let me maximize this guy. Now let's now do search FTP particularly. Search FTP. You can see all the vulnerabilities related to FTP that we can try. So when you're trying to actually do real hacking, it's also a game of trial and error. Because it means you want to find out which of these particular vulnerabilities will actually work. And you can see here they're also ranked, meaning this particular one of a Windows machine having FTP running, it's great. Its ranking is it's likely going to work. This one is ranking is excellent. You can see the dates that these vulnerabilities were disclosed. You know, this was in 2010, it was in 2019. And this also lets you know the importance of always updating your system. Don't say, oh, I'm managing my data, I don't want to update. If you have a system that is probably running an FTP of 2019 and you don't update it, it means that then somebody should find that out. They can exploit your machine with the aid of this vulnerability. Now, when you now ask yourself again that, oh, how can I go from beginner to hero in a very short amount of time? I want to bring our attention to this, what we have right here now. This is a project from one of the previous students who was once like you, a beginner, and this was an assessment, an ethical hacking assessment. And you can see here these neatly documented scans and reports. This can be you in a matter of months once you join up on Infinix Tech Cloud to become a cybersecurity professional, perhaps even better than I am. So it is with this I would like to close and say, see you in class, be there. Thank you very much. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
Hafiz, thank you very much.
Mr.
Thank you.
Hafiz,
Yes,
that
yes, I
was
can hear you, Mr.
amazing. That was
Abraham.
mind-blowing. And it is evident from the emojis we're seeing. In fact, one of the things I saw Gadus there. Was it Gadus? The capstone project by Gadus.
No, it's Kudus. That's the name of the student who did that project.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Please, if you like this presentation, you can show appreciation by dropping an emoji. I enjoyed this presentation. It was mind-blowing, and all that. Now, the questions can start coming in. Whatever question you want to ask, please, this is the time to ask those questions. This is the time to ask those questions. And if you want to ask any question, you can indicate by raising up your hand. You tell us your name, what you do, and who your question is directed to. And let's just do that in the next 5 minutes. We'll take in the next 5 minutes, the first 3 hands to be raised. The first 3 hands to be raised. Okay, if there are none, we'll quickly just read questions from the chats. Mr. Victory Kalu is asking, what's the difference between a business analyst and a data analyst? The difference between a business analyst and a data analyst. Ms. Chinaka or Ms. Linda, can you please answer that? The difference between a business analyst and a data analyst. If there are questions for Mr. Hafiz, please, you can also ask them in the chats. Miss.
Okay, I will take that, Mr. Abraham. Thank you.
All right. Sorry.
So the difference between business analysis and data analysis, well, do you have quite a connection? But as the word implies, a business analyst is going to focus more on identifying business needs and recommending solutions. So when I mean business needs, I mean you trying to create business requirements, trying to make sure that you have the proper documentation of the business you're managing or the business you're analyzing. So your whole focus is going to just be able to identify business needs, help them to improve their business. So now a data analyst now is going to focus more on interpreting data, right? So when these businesses, when they have a data, the data analyst is going to be able to interpret that data set to help the business make data-driven decisions. So like I said before, like I said earlier on, a data analyst is more like a storyteller. So where are we telling these stories from? We're telling the stories from the data we have from that business. So a data analyst can also be a business analyst, but for a business analyst to actually be a data analyst, you need to learn the technical aspect of it, because business analysis is not so technical, right? But data analysis is more technical than business analysis. So in summary, a business analyst is going to focus more on identifying business needs and recommending solutions, while a data analyst is going to focus on interpreting data to help businesses make informed decisions. I think that answers the question. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Favor. To succinctly put, if you know you are drawn towards entrepreneurship and you want to go into the entrepreneurship in tech, you should begin your journey from being a business analyst. Personally, I enjoy opening businesses. I enjoy opening small businesses. You should think of understanding how to keep businesses within focus. You know, so you need that skill of being a business analyst. You also need the skill of being a data analyst when you're dealing with data, lots of data, information. Again, that is that about that. We'll also ask, what is the course duration from Idundun Orishettimehin? What is the course duration to become a data analyst? It's 3 months. 3 months. You become a data analyst with ITC Tech when you learn for 3 months. How do one knows which should go into? Possibly for one to be both. What's the cost and cost duration and guarantee of being guided as a novice to Promax? Now, I will say this, to learn with ITC Tech online, the reason it's strictly online, it's because we want to see that you can perform your work online when you are given a job. You see, we have seen cases where people learn tech skills physically, and for them to now function online, it's a challenge. But at ITC Tech, we're sure that once you learn online, you've been able to surmount the challenge of internet, you've been able to surmount the challenge of light and gadgets. So we have built a confidence, around you, and we are sure that after your learning, you've learned online, you can actually function online. So that is why our courses are basically online. Now, the cost of our courses for data analysis, it is 350,000. For cyber security, it is 800,000. For web development, it is 800,000. For business analysis, it is 250,000. For cloud computing, now all these tech skills we've been explaining, they still have it on cloud. They have it in the cloud. So for you to learn cloud computing, you need to pick a skill you want to major in the cloud. Now, for those persons who are interested in AI and machine learning, I know we have overshot our time, but let me quickly say this. You need to begin from being a data analyst. You need to start from being a data analyst and climb your way through the rung. For those persons who are interested in learning DevOps, as was seen from Mr. Taiwo's slide, is an advanced stage in web development. You need, hello? Okay, yeah. So you need to begin from learning web development. However, if you gain the web development skill, then yes, you can move in as a DevOps. Our DevOps course is 800,000. However, our courses for we have thought of giving massive discounts, and you can call our numbers and ask. Our numbers are just a minute, please. Our numbers 08065114789. I'm going to drop the number on the chat. You can pick our numbers to call. We have massive discounts also for students who have partook in this 9th session. This is ITC Tech number. It's on the chat. Please do well to call our number. Do well to call our number and ask for the great discount that is being given for you by virtue of you attending the webinar today. You can also reach Mr. Solomon. You can also reach Mr. Solomon. Sorry, I'm going to drop. Sorry, excuse me, just a minute, please. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, you can also talk with Mr. Solomon. The number just dropped on the chat session. You can also talk with Mr. Solomon on WhatsApp, and you talk to him on WhatsApp to see. Okay, anyway, that is that. And if you like this that has been done, I'm hoping to see you. We'll be hosting more webinars. In the weeks to come. We hope to still have interesting speakers. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so we're hoping to have more interesting speakers in the coming weeks. ITC Tech, our new cohort is beginning 10th of May. 10th of May. So for all those who have joined today and for all those who are yet to join, we're hoping to see that come 10th of May, we're beginning the new cohort for all our courses, for data analysis, for cyber security, for web development, for cloud computing, AI and machine learning. We're beginning all our courses. Now, our data analysis course has been reduced to 300,000 for our audience who are students. Our audience who are students, you are having that discount because we're taking you as interns. Now, you should also understand that being interns, your internship letter and your logbook will all be filled and attended to also online. This has overshot its time limit. If there is any other question, please feel free to visit our Instagram pages. Feel free to talk with us on our numbers I just posted. Again, 0806-511-4798. 0806-511-4798. That is our number. Reach us on our number and let's take it up from there. If you want to, you can also follow us on our Instagram and our Facebook. However, we'll also have this Google form, which I just dropped again. Please, you can fill out the Google form if you've not done so, and so that we can reach out to you. Tell us also the interesting part of the webinar you just attended, and let's hear from you. From myself and on behalf of ITC Tech, I wish you a lovely weekend coming up, and I hope you've learned a lot. We hope to communicate to you guys when our next webinar is coming up, and we hope to also have exciting topics, exciting discussions, just as we just had now, so that we'll see your journey in tech is seamless and it's beautiful. Again, a big thank you to the management of ITC Tech, Infinix Tech Cloud, who have made this possible, and to all our audience, our undergraduate students, our oil and gas professionals, finance and banking professionals, our tech enthusiasts. We appreciate your presence. The recording of this webinar will be sent to our to our Instagram and Facebook pages. You can also view whatever reference you want to make. You can also call our lines. Thank you very much for attending, and I do hope you gain something insightful and meaningful from this webinar. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Abraham.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Abraham.
For fantastic evening.
Thank you.
Yes. Good night,
Thank
everyone.
you and good night,
Thank you, everyone.
everybody.